When you remove layers, simplicity and speed happen. Ginni Rometty. My friends, we try to remove all those layers. As Einstein said, make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. That is Occam's razor. Let's jump into these charts. We see everything down for the day but Bitcoin. The S&P 500 down 1.38%. This blue line is the weekly trend line on our half-day chart. Still in the red here. We've noticed that it's never gone to green. We had some green earlier in the week, but of course, what did that mean to us? Nothing, because we didn't have the STC go from red to green. We simply had some down movement, some up movement, but again, tracking along about the same line. Now, we look at where we are on that weekly trend line. We can see that we've started bisecting it at least with down price movement throughout the course of the day. On Thursday, let's look at the 2-day. Still in the green on the STC, but you can again see that sideways slide right there, and how the candle on this latest 2-day, which represents Wednesday and Thursday, so it's finished drawing, has turned into a red, almost doji. Again, lots of indecision. You can see where prices moved all around. Remember, these are Heikin-Ashi candlesticks, so the opening is the average of the prior period's open and close. When you look at the close for this candle, it is the average of the high open, low close of the current period. Heikin-Ashi candlesticks help us to see where the average pace or the average move of price is actually going. It takes out a lot of the noise that you otherwise see in a regular candlestick, high open, low close. It's why we use it. That's why we like it. It helps us focus on what's really going on, not all those other signals and all that other noise. Sort of like what Ginni Rometty says, when you remove the layers, simplicity and speed happen. It helps us see speedily what's going on with price, and we can see where it is losing some of its energy and inertia. We go from the 2-day to the weekly. It's still in the green on the STC. You can see again how price has continued to move up as far as the candles go, but you can see how they've been getting weaker as price has moved along. We peaked all the way back on the week beginning Monday the 30th of January, and then we can see smaller candle, lower high. This week, smaller candle, lower high. So, are we getting ready to see a strong down move in the market? I don't know. Could be digesting these these moves lately. We'll see where that takes us. We'll now move on to the NASDAQ 100, two spinning tops, almost dojis for the day. So again, lots of indecision. Red on the STC. STC's been red for quite a while, since the latest high going all the way back to February the 2nd. We look at where we are on the 2-day, still green on the STC, just not enough energy to push through that 200 exponential moving average. Still tracking up above the trend line for the weekly chart. The blue is always the weekly. We look at the weekly itself, we can again see a very similar thing with the candles, lower highs, smaller candlesticks, still green on the STC. So we're not doing anything with stocks at this point, waiting for them to tell us what to do. Let's move on to bonds. Bonds just continue to track down. You can see how we're down in the morning, further down in the afternoon, down 1.42%. We look at where things are on the 2-day, and of course that 2-day just rotated over earlier this week on Monday. That's the Monday-Tuesday price movement, and going further down on the Wednesday-Thursday. And we look at where we are on the weekly. Weekly hasn't rotated over yet. It's still green on the STC. But again, going the second week of down movement, increasing candle size and dipping lower on the bottom wick. No wick on top. Again, you can see just a little bitty wick on top on last week. So again, none of that this week. Stronger down movement. So that's where we are on bonds. What about gold? Gold down just a little bit for the day, 0.08%. See where it was down further in the morning, popped up a little in the afternoon. Still lots of indecision in both of those candles, well below the weekly trend line red on the STC. What about the 2-day? Again, just tracking down, big red down candle, and above the 200 EMA, below the weekly trend line. We look at the weekly trend line, again, a bigger red down candle, lower low after things peaked on gold. Actually, during the week, we had the spinning top, and that was the week beginning the 30th of January. And again, if we look at where the volume was that week, isn't that interesting, friends? High volume on a week with a red spinning top. What does that tell you? Tells you that the insiders, market makers, were unloading their gold to a bunch of suckers who thought that gold was going to keep going up. When you see high volume and you don't consequently see lots of down volume with a red candle, it means that the people are selling or being bought. And that means, of course, the insiders are unloading their gold on the suckers who then got screwed over the last 2 weeks. So volume is important, and understanding what it tells you is very important. The truth is always there in the details. Now let's move on from gold to go to Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin, booming, up 0.69%. Now we saw where it was. We're still, well, we'll get to that in a second, but we can see where it's blown through at the end of the day on Wednesday, blew through the weekly trend line, and of course skyrocketed up during the course of the day as far as these candles go. Now again, up 1.69%. It's not like 8 or 10%, but again, moving up. We look at where we are on the 2-day, and of course you can see where it was tracking down and then rolled back over, already in the green, stayed in the green. And what about the weekly? Of course, the weekly, we saw where things tried to move over, and then what happened? Just reversed on that. So again, very weak in that down move. It was only 3 2-day candles, but they were, again, moving down quite strongly. Does the volume tell us anything? Well, you can see the volume was decent, but here's what's fascinating. With all this up move that you see, as far as this up candle, when you look at the 2-day chart, and of course this is finished drawing, look at how little volume there is. Not a lot of volume for all that up movement. Somebody playing games with you? Let's look at the let's look at what's going on when we look at the half day. You do see increasing volume, but nowhere near the average. But this average is predicated on these crazy down trades before. You do have a big up move there, but again, sort of seems like an anomaly. Small candle, but huge volume that day. Then you have high volume going into that other up move and then backing way off and dropping. So again, interesting what's going on. We'll see how predicated those up moves are as we move forward. That is, will they be sustained? That is where we are, folks, as we end the day. Of course, Patreon members, we already sent out to you actually last night. We're trying to send you a little early the weekly vertical crossovers. You have a little more time to deal with those. Check your emails. Of course, always remember everything we upload for our Patreon members is also uploaded at our Patreon page. So if you didn't get the email or you missed it, went into your spam box, don't worry about it. Go to the Patreon site. You will find it there. Also, Charting Cryptos and Commodities. We will release that to the general audience tomorrow afternoon on Fridays. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. Don't hesitate to reach out to us, CW@chartingwealth.com. God bless.